What's up, everyone? Welcome back. I'm going to do a quick follow-up video. I have posted that video on how I use Easel to design a Stratocaster body. And now I'm going to show you how I set up everything on the CNC itself, on the X-Carve itself, to get that body actually cut out and ready to start being worked on and made into an actual playing guitar. So follow me over here and I'm going to show you exactly what I do. So maybe, hold on, switching views. Alright, first things first, we got to get the spindle here up and over to where we can put in a different cutting bit to cut through this body blank. So I'm going to hop on the laptop and move this guy around up front so that we can make those tool changes real quick. So watch this. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to get Easel loaded up here. I'm opening my current project where I have all of my dimensions put in. Now this one is a different body style. I went with the swimming pool route on this one, which is nothing more than a big giant rectangle. But what we are going to do is make sure everything's connected first. There we go. Heard a little ding ding dong. That noise right there, which means that any second now these guys here should turn green, just like that. Now this one says carve, but just to the right here, these little arrows is your jogging machine, or how you jog the machine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna press the Z-axis up, and if you notice, that raises up our Z-axis. And I'm gonna raise it up, and then I'm going to change my intervals to 1. And I'm going to bring it forward. Now that that's forward, we can go ahead and get that tool changed. Alright, so the DeWalt 611 originally came with a wrench to get the collet off. I've had this machine now for almost 3 years, and in that 3-year time I have lost that wrench. However, I have these big giant husky vice grips, and if you open them up, the collet itself does have 2 flat spots on it, one on either side. So I just clamp my vice grips onto it. There is a yellow button on the side here that you push that and it locks it. I loosen that guy up, and the collet comes right off. And like I said, it's got 2 flat spots, one here, one on the other side. That's what I clamp my vice grips onto. This here is a white side 1/4 inch. I believe this one's a down cut spiral bit. And my material is too tall to get all the way through. So I'm going to have to make some adjustments and not cut all the way through, which is totally fine because I do like doing a lot of stuff by hand once the body shape itself is cut out. So with this one, I'm going to have to cut most of the way through and then use the bandsaw to cut out the excess around the outside of the body and then shape it with the spindle sander. So that just means that I got to make my bit go up a little higher into the collet. Make sure the collet's nice and tight. And what I'm going to do now is just so my cut depth of this cutter is only 1.5 inches. So that means I can only go 1.5 inches deep. So I'm going to have to make some adjustments in the program and cut 1.5 inches out of this body. But first, let's make those adjustments and then I'll show you what we do to get it set up ready to cut the material. Okay, so I'm over here. I made my outline here that was originally cutting all the way through the 1.95 inches of material. I've changed it to the depth of 1.5, which is the cutting depth of the tool itself, the cutting tool itself. So now if you look, my dimensions of my board is 18.25, as you can see there, which means this body just barely fits. That means that when we go to zero our cutting material or our cutting blade, it needs to be pretty spot on. So let's go ahead and get that jogged over and I'll show you what I mean by setting your zero. So in order to get the zero to be where you want it, you want the center most part of the bit itself to be the zero, not the outside. So you can see I have half of the bit overhung and the other half on the other side. That center point, the centermost point of the bit, is your 0, 0. Okay, so I set up my 0, like I said, centermost point. I set it up while I am jogging the machine rather than doing it once I hit carve. Just because I like to set it before I'm ready to go. Now that I'm ready to go, I have everything ready, I have everything set, I have all the measurements in and ready and good. I can confirm that that's how thick it is. I can confirm that everything is clamped down, ready to go. That is the bit size that I'm using. And it's saying now confirm work 0. And that is exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to just confirm it. I've moved the machine to the front left corner of the material, not the machine itself. It's work 0, not home 0. I've lowered the bit to the surface of the material. What I usually do is I put a piece of paper under there and lower it until the piece of paper just barely won't move at all. I mean, just a fraction of it moves, if any. Then I'll lift it up by 0.001 or 0.1, depending on how it is. Then I'll slide that paper out, and that gives me, I am right on the very surface of the material itself. So we're going to use this new position that we're in right now. We're going to raise the bit. This says confirm that your spindle is on. Mine's not on yet, but it will be. So I'm going to say yes, the spindle is on. I'm going to reach over here, make sure my speed is always on 1 because it doesn't need to be any faster than that. It is now on, and we can hit carve. Alright, now that I'm not taking a picture and I'm taking a video, I gotta stop doing that. It is all done, as you can see. It's all finished up. Like I said, it did not cut all the way through the body, but that's fine because I can finish it up on the bandsaw and with the spindle sander and get it all looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off of the machine, but in order to do that, I have to jog the machine to where the spindle is not blocking the sander. So let's go ahead and do that and see what we have and take it to the bandsaw. Alright, be right back. So I just came over and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. Something looked off. Couldn't figure it out. Then I realized this clamp here was originally right in the path and it got nicked off. Don't know if you can see that there. Big old chip out. Always double check your tool paths. Almost dropped you. Alright, so I used the bandsaw to cut out a big portion of everything around the outside. And now we can move on to the spindle sander and get it shaped a little bit better. So let's get going on that. Alright, now I know a lot of you are probably thinking, why did he spend so much time at the spindle sander? why not do something that was faster, easier, maybe even more efficient? Well, truth be told, I like it. I like using the spindle sander. Um, I like having control over the body. I like watching it kind of melt away. I think it's a really cool process to watch right up close. So that's why I like using the spindle sander. It's enjoyable to me. So if I like doing it, why not do it? It's something that gets the job done, it gets the results that I need, and it's a fun tool to use. That's why I use it instead of doing a quick router and being done. I actually enjoy working on guitars and watching the shape come alive. So that's why I use the good old trusty spindle sander. Okay, so next up is this arm contour. Now, when I did it on the CNC, all I did was cut in steps. I could have used the CNC and then had it spend a bunch more time on the machine, actually making that smooth, doing a bunch of round over. But like with the spindle sander, I actually like using my hand tools, using tools like an orbital sander, which is what I'm going to use to now smooth this out so that the arm contour is nice and comfy. So let me get that done and I'll be right back with you guys. Safety first. A minute 45. And it's all smooth, ready to go. Now, that took me 1 minute and 45 seconds with this, whereas the programming on the CNC, it would have taken a whole lot longer than a minute and 46 seconds, or a minute and 45 seconds, however long it was. But I got the same results. Nice, smooth arm contour, ready to move on to the next step. My next step that I plan on with this guy is going to be, this is going to be a painted solid color body. So I've got some voids to fill in. So I'm going to mix up some wood dust and wood glue and get that packed in there and let that dry so that when we sand it over and we do our round over, we have a nice solid finish that paint's going to cover over really nicely. So I'm going to get to that and let's check out how it's done. Alright, so what I've done is I went and got the steel plate that I had. I went to the dust collector and I pulled out some of this real fine sawdust. Gonna grab some Titebond. Squirt a little bit out there. Making a paste. Then going to take this paste and shove it down into the cracks and crevices. All right, so while we let that glue dry, because that's what it's going to do, it's going to dry and get hard and fill in that void with all that dust. We are going to go hang out and have a cup of tea and relax for a bit. So we'll see you back here in about a blink of an eye on the video, but about, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour once it's dry. So sit tight, be right back. And there she is. Still have a little bit to do, like doing some round over on the edges. I still have to cut in a belly contour, but I think I'm going to do that in the next video and kind of go into depth about those. But this one, for this video, I'm going to say is good to go. Alright guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in and checking out this video. Like I said, this is kind of a follow-up to my how to design a Stratocaster body in Easel. We went ahead and set it up on the CNC, had the CNC cut out most of it, and then did the rest on the bandsaw and the spindle sander. And like I said, I know somebody's going to be like, hey, why not do it an easy way? I like doing the spindle sander. It's a lot of fun. I did want to show you guys real quick that design that we used. I've got this test neck that I use that's from WD. It's licensed by Fender, so it's Fender specs. And it is a perfect fit. I mean, this is, it doesn't get better than that. So those files, like I said, that I shared with you, they're great files. And if you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it, because it's insanely simple how easy Easel actually is, and how much you can actually do with it despite what a lot of people think. So again, thanks for checking out the video. If you haven't hit like or subscribe on any of my videos, do it on this one. Like, subscribe, click that bell notification, because we're going to keep building this one. We're going to keep building it and see how it turns out. I think you're going to like it, because I've got some cool ideas for it. So yeah, with that being said, keep building, keep having fun. I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.